The Second World War was going badly. German U-boats prowled the Atlantic like wolves, picking off Allied convoys with ruthless precision. Britain was bleeding supplies, men, and hope. Steel was scarce. Resources were stretched thin. And so, someone suggested the unthinkable. Let's build an aircraft carrier out of ice. The idea landed on Winston Churchill's desk in 1942. Where most leaders would have laughed it into the waste bin, Churchill paused. He took a puff from his cigar. Then he underlined it in red ink and scrawled, "Make immediately. Enter Project Habakkuk." The mastermind behind it was Geoffrey Pike, a brilliant and wildly eccentric inventor. Pike believed that ice, if mixed with wood pulp, created a miracle material called picrete, a strange, durable composite that was harder than ice, bullet-resistant, and melted slowly. It could float, absorb impact, and be molded into anything, even, perhaps, an unsinkable floating fortress. The plan: build a 2,000-foot-long aircraft carrier from picrete. The thing would be larger than the Queen Mary, nearly invisible to radar, and able to stay at sea for months. It would roam the cold Atlantic, a frozen leviathan launching planes against Hitler's submarines. They began testing in secret on a remote lake in Alberta, Canada. A small prototype was built, complete with refrigeration to keep it frozen through the summer. It worked. Even when hit with bullets, the picrete didn't shatter. It absorbed, but the problems started to pile up. First, the cooling systems. Keeping a giant iceberg from melting in the middle of the ocean required constant refrigeration. Miles of piping and massive energy, effectively a power plant inside an ice cube. Second, maneuverability. Turning a frozen mountain took time. Too much time. It wasn't a ship so much as a glacier with ambition. Then there were the logistics. The ship would need to be built in pieces and assembled in frigid waters, using resources and time the Allies simply didn't have. By 1944, the tide of war had turned. Steel production caught up. New technology made conventional aircraft carriers more effective. Project Habakkuk, too weird to live, was quietly shelved. And so the prototype sat on the lake for a year, melting slowly into the water, as if embarrassed to have ever existed.